Hey, what's up, YouTube? Trading Futures Live Day 67, Friday, August 12th. My name is George. Normally I'm here with Franco and Beto. They couldn't be with us today. I'm actually trading from home. And let's get right into it real quick. Trading is inherently risky and can result in the loss of capital. So please do not take any of our trades or copy any of our trades. We're here for educational purposes only, and so let's go ahead and get right into it. We already had some news today at 8:30, but the new major news today is going to be at 10 a.m. Consumer sentiment, so we certainly want to be aware of that as we get closer to it. Feel free to remind me, guys. Again, normally I'm here with Franco and Beto, so one of us are always kind of on top of that, but rolling solo today. Is going to have its own challenges. Some news next week, but nothing too major. Core retail sales on Wednesday and the FOMC meeting minutes at 2 p.m. on Wednesday. Those are the only red folders next week. There is some news, but those are the only red folders. Let's go ahead and take a look at the charts real quick. We've got a little over a minute till the open. If we go ahead and take a look at yesterday, it closed as a rejection candle. Didn't necessarily make it up to this level up here that I had, but a quick rejection off, breaking to a new high after the news in the early morning, and was basically a ranging day, and so far we are still inside of that range. This is the hourly, right? We got rejected off, pushed down, made a new low on the day, but quickly got rejected off of there as well, and then spent the majority of the night sideways. Did break out in the London session to the upside, but quickly pulled back to retest where it left from, and we're back at those highs there. So I have a zone here at the overnight high. Got another zone at yesterday's high, and this pivot low, as well as then the overnight low and yesterday's lows. And so we're going to need to see some movement before we start taking any trades. We are now open, and we are off. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Tom. Good morning, Rich. Yeah, rejection day, but let's see. Yeah, it could be another ranging day, right? We do have consumer sentiment at 10, but nothing really major in the news. No more earnings, like major earnings reports from any major companies. The last major earnings was yesterday. I believe it was yesterday. Was Disney had much better than expected results, but I think that was like the last major company to have earnings. So the market needs a reason to move, and the news isn't necessarily providing anything right now. So we'll see what the consumer sentiment does. Now this is the overnight, created an overnight high, has got rejected off of it before the open. We're in the opening candle right now. Let's see what kind of it's gonna be another low volume day here, at least as far as this first candle is concerned. We'll see we'll see how it goes. This is the 15-minute chart again. We created these overnight highs. I've already tested these levels quite a bit there. But as usual, we are going to stay very, very patient, guys. Also, I'm guessing you guys can hear me clearly, but I'm trading from home today, and I'm doing the entire live stream from my home computer, which I've never done before. So If the sound isn't great or something, please let me know. Let's take a look at the internals. We are above yesterday's close. Let's go to the 90. We are above yesterday's close on all the 4 indexes here. Again, we are still inside of yesterday's range, but the market did close yesterday near the lows, and so that is that's where we're still at. Let's do this on the 60. So we are up. We do have the dollar going up, which is a sign of weakness for the markets. VIX is down with the markets up. Gold is up, crude is down. Tested the 95, retested it here, got rejected off for crude oil. Looking like it maybe wants to come and test these lows from yesterday. Nothing major though. No leader here in the market thus far. No clear chart that you can say, oh, the Russell is going nuts or the Dow is going nuts. Well, now the Russell is showing to be the weakest. Dow's the strongest at the current moment, trying to push up while the rest are coming down. Very, very, very low volume. I mean, outrageously low volume. Let's check this out on the 5-minute that just closed. I mean, yeah. That's very low volume here compared to, I mean, this was CPI, so that was a very high volume day, but still very, very, very low volume. And so with very low volume, to me I'd be looking at more of a ranging day so far. We may get a kick up in volume maybe with the news at 10 a.m. But I'm going to look more so to play these actual zones as a rejection point to get long. Not necessarily this first zone here, but maybe the overnight lows as a point to try and get long. The internal started up in positive territory because we did gap up from the close yesterday, but NQ quickly came and even broke the 0 line here on the tick chart. Quick rejection down on the ES as well. Good morning, guys. Rolling solo again today, so I'm going to count on you guys to keep me in check, please. take a look at the volume here on the NQ as well. Yeah, fairly low volume compared to the rest of the week. And every other day. So on the lower end of the spectrum as far as volume goes for the NQ as well. Definitely a nice level there on the NQ. Rejection, became support there. Something to keep an eye on. Breakout above there to retest, to maybe get long to test these highs. This pivot is above this pivot but coincides there, so not exactly the same zone, but it did create a level there that was a level a bit lower than that pivot that then came back yesterday, and that's where it got rejected off of. Wasn't able to hold and break back down. Alright, we're starting to see a push there. The internals got rejected off of this zero line there. Got pushed back up to the 750 level. Advanced decline. Maybe it looks like it wants to turn back around. We do have the dollar going up. I'd like to see the dollar going down for this to go up. VIX has been coming down today though. Need my coffee. Alright guys, getting a nice push there. Let's see this on the 5 minute. Still have 4 minutes left in this 5 minute, which is also the first 15. I'm going to want to wait and see where this 5 minute candle closes. Got about 40 seconds left in this 2 minute. Certainly want to see it close above. If we get rejected down off of here, I may be looking to get short, to tell you guys the truth. But again, I want to see how this 5 minute candle closes as well as the 15. Did get a rejection from the lows here to the upside. So we at the very least have an opening range right now from these two 5 minute candles of about 14 points, 15 points on the ES. Daily ATR continues to come down. We're at 70 here on the ES, where we were up up over 100 as recent as last month or 2 months ago, June. So we have come down drastically on the daily ATRs. About 2 minutes left. Certainly want to thank you guys for joining me today on your Friday morning. If you're maybe new to the channel, normally there's 2 or 3 of us on here. The other 2 guys could not be with us today. We trade futures. I trade the ES mostly. The other 2 guys trade the Nasdaq mostly, futures contracts. And really here we try and be as patient as possible. Good morning, asset manager trader. It's been a few days since I've seen you around. So thank you guys for joining us. And 1 minute left in this 5 minute. We're gonna stay patient. Again, I want to see where it closes. Get a big volume spike in the 2 minute candle that broke that high. Might be looking to get long if the 5 minute closes above. Ideally, I'd like my stop down to at least the open. For getting long, right? The safest place is beyond this pivot, but that would make it too big of a zone, I feel like, for the ATRs that we're working with right now. So I'm looking at Alright, 5 minute candle closed above the overnight high. Internals broke to a new high on that push. Getting kind of rejected here off, so we're going to still give this a few minutes. I'm not going to rush into anything today. This could very easily be a false breakout. But I do want to be ready here. Be looking at something like this potentially. Do I normally take a trade within the first 15 minutes? Honestly, no. I do if I have a very clear bias on the day, which I do not today. Today is more of a ranging day. And so, but if I'm bullish on the day or if I'm very bearish on the day and we get a quick breakout at the open, then yes, that's normally... those are the days that I take trades in the first 15 minutes when it breaks out long, and I want to be in it and I have to find a way in. Almost kind of like yesterday's trade, except it wasn't in the first 15 minutes. It took a little while for it to break out, but that's normally the only way I'm taking a trade. In the first 15 minutes, usually I'm letting the market kind of figure itself out, create its opening range as it did. All right, we have a high and a clear low since the open now, and since I don't have a major bias, I'm not going to be overly aggressive. The internals aren't looking terrible to get into a long. I just what it's giving me pause right now is this tick chart. It is holding here in this positive territory, but it could very easily come and test this zero line, and so yeah, and just breaking to a new low as it is right now. And so because I don't have a clear bias, I mean, I may very well want to get short rather quickly in this. We're going to stay patient. What's up, Python? Got a minute left in this 5 minute. Franco and Beto, they trade on a much smaller time frame. They look at the tick charts, so they're on a much smaller time frame. So they are the ones that are usually more likely to take a trade earlier on, and they usually find more trades than I do. I like for my smallest time frame is the 2 minute. I kind of found the 2 minute by accident, but I used to like to trade off of the 1 minute, but I would get faked out too much. So I like to wait for the confirmation of the 2 minute when trading. The 1 minute would just fake me out too many times. All right, new 5 minute. Nice false breakout of the high. Haven't broken this low yet. Now, if we make it back up to these highs and we hold this trend line here, sorry, do have a nice trend line that formed. I don't draw my trend lines perfectly. Trend lines are they're a zone. They're not a whole line. You could, if they made it to draw trend lines as zones, basically as a channel, right? That's what I'm looking at. I don't care to draw my trend lines perfectly. All right, my trend line is more so this zone there that it seems to be respecting, right? And so let's see what the internals are saying. Okay, advanced declines breaking out to a new high. Let's see all four markets. All right, the Russell here hasn't broken the overnight high yet, like the rest of them have, but it rejected off and it is pushing up strongly. So I would say we're getting long signals from the other markets as well. They're all looking to push right now. Advanced decline there, pushing. Tick chart tested the high there. I do need to see this push up though and break. I am not going to be getting in down here. I would say right now what I'm looking for a long is a close above this blue line. We also have to remember we have news at 10 a.m. and so I would want to be getting into this trade within the next 2 minutes and 30 seconds. I do not want to. I don't want to be getting in too close to the 10 o'clock candle. The volatility of that candle and the news. Could easily and quickly stop me out. I am glad I did not put that order on, because I think I would have been stopped out to the tick right there. I don't know that that necessarily would have been exactly where I placed the trade, but it wouldn't have been necessarily bad. I certainly would have gotten stopped out with that risk. So again, we're going to stay patient. Let me clear that off. Advanced decline is pushing. Tick chart staying up here in this positive territory, but the chart's not reflecting that. The chart is not reflecting that. Higher high on the advanced decline, not a higher high here. This is pre-market, but this is the RSI. It's the that is the overnight high. Essentially created a high here on the RSI. New high here at the open, but the RSI actually made a lower high, so we have some divergence here. Right, so these internals are not agreeing with what we're seeing here on the chart. Same thing here, higher high, not showing up on the chart. Making lower lows here on the tick Q. So at this point, we're certainly going to wait for the news. Looks like the market just made an opening range to wait for the news, and we will oblige. Alright, they've all stalled out. All four indexes here to the left have all stalled out. We do have the dollar finally coming down though. And let's wait for the news. 3 minutes. I'm looking forward to summer being over. Kids go back to school. See if the market starts to pick up and we get a little increase in the daily ATR again. We need a little bit more volatility in this market. Difficult for the open to only do 15 points in the first 30 minutes. That certainly does not work for my style of trading. All right, less than 1 minute. I'm gonna stay patient. I'm gonna want to see what the how the 5-minute candle closes after the news and it's out. Let's take a look. All right, consumer sentiment better than expected. And inflation expectations, I guess no forecast. Preliminary inflation expectations percentage. Okay, so it's going down 5.2 down to 5. Inflation expectations are dropping, and consumer sentiment has gone up. Level actual greater than forecast, good for currency. Now, greater than forecast, good for currency. Let's see what the dollar shot up off of that news. Markets are dropping off of that news. That's a heck of a spike down. Now we're going to wait and see how this closes. This reverses and closes bullish, or we're getting long. If we close near these lows, I'm going to want to actually see it break out of here. Maybe give a pullback before I get in short. If not, we're maybe going to want to wait for it to come and test the overnight low before we make a decision in any direction. It's a heck of a spike down on the tick charts. New lows. Advanced decline reversed. Again, the dollar shot up. Because that news is good for currency, so our currency is going, the value of our currency is going up, breaking the high. Let's see this on a higher time frame. We were already above yesterday's high. This could run up to, it's already at this pivot, but it could run up maybe to this pivot. was in a fairly tight range. Dollar continues to push, getting a pullback here on the tick charts right now. 2 minutes left in this 5-minute candle. Now with this rejection off of here, need to see what the internals, if the internals start to reverse and show signs of a long, this dollar is screaming up though. To the point that I may think about taking a breakout here, right? Price with the news pushed down, found buyers here, rejected off again. Want to see where this closes. But I may think about taking a breakout above here. Alright, new 5. Closing neutral essentially. Russell pushed down and recovered quite a bit. Dow pushed down, continues to stay down. NQ's recovered a decent amount as well. These three are holding above the 21 EMA there on the 30-minute. Alright, we pushed down to a new low here on the advanced decline. My bias is going to go to short. Certainly have a trend forming here to the downside on the tick chart. Not necessarily pretty flat, but we are creating lower lows and lower highs here on the tick Q. Getting a push there on the advanced decline, getting a push there on the tick chart. See if we can get a close below that trend line that I drew out there. See if we can find a way into this. $35.25. So back up above here to get long. Yeah, I will not rush into anything, I'm going to need to see a close above this level. I've gotten burned too many times on price coming back up here, getting in early, and getting stopped out. I very much like to wait for over confirmation. Now, could you have had a long setup down here in this zone? Yes, you could have. It's something I need to work on, especially when my bias has been essentially neutral, been jumping back and forth, right? And so something I'm working on is when the market seems to be indecisive is when I need to actually play the zones. The way you guys watch me trade currently, I don't play the zones as a zone to go long or short from. I play the zone as more of a breakout area. If I'm long from this zone, I would need some sort of double confirmation or rejection off of the level, and a retest to get long. I don't play the limit orders. Something I need to work on in my execution, but I'm not great at determining the type of day, whether it's going to be a range bound day or a trending day. And on a range bound day, I should be playing the zones, but in the past I haven't been great at determining that, so I've gotten burned too many times playing the zones on the first touch. Hence why I wait for double and triple confirmations sometimes. See, we started to get the push down. Started to get another push down here on the tick chart, so I rolled my bias over to shorts, quickly rejected off. I mean, so far it's a ranging day. Kind of need to play the ranges, and that is not my style. So we're going to wait and wait and wait. One thing I want to point out right now on this 5-minute chart, if you're looking to get long and you're looking for a breakout, and let's say this 5-minute candle pushes and breaks out right now in the next minute, well, there's still going to be about 3 minutes left in this 5-minute candle, and that 5-minute candle has going to already have reached its ATR. It's going to have exceeded its ATR. So you're going to get in at the top of a 5-minute candle. Hence, kind of the reason that I want to wait for confirmation. I want to wait for it to close and form a new candle so I can get in on the new candle that's going to run up. You get in at the high of that current 5-minute candle, and it's going to want to pull back because it's already reached its full ATR capacity. So you're going to end up taking heat, right? And that's why you see me jump around to all the different time frames constantly, is I need to know where the 30-minute is at, where the 60-minute is at, where the 15-minute is at, right? This 15-minute, I don't want to get in on this 15-minute. I want to get in with it having 2 minutes and 40 seconds left. I want to get in on the new 15-minute candle if I want to be long, right? So that I get the push of the new 15-minute candle. I don't want to get in on the close of this candle and then suffer some kind of retracement off of it. Just my 2 cents on that. But that's why you'll hear us constantly trying to call out like 1 minute left in the 5 minute, 5 minutes left in the 30, stuff like that. Two minutes left in this 5 minute, right? If we get a close above, again, I'm going to be looking to get long. And I'm going to, at the very least, if we get a close above here, I'm going to, at the very least, want to risk this entire 5 minute candle, meaning my stop somewhere around 42.29. Now this is my trading style, right? Which means I'm likely going to be risking, if I don't get in on a pullback, a full 10 points. Now the issue I'm going to have, this 5 minutes going to close. It's not going to close above, let's say. Get the new one. Now, it depends on where this one closes, but if this one closes near the high of the candle, but doesn't close above, now I have to wait for another candle to close above, which could take off without me. And unfortunately, with trying to wait for confirmation, it is what it is. What I may do if this closes near the high is, okay, go to down to the 2 minute and now wait for the 2 minute to close above. Use that as my confirmation to get in. Let's take a look at these internals. Right. This did essentially break that trend line there, but it's still kind of holding a trend line there to the downside. Not giving us any real push. 5 minute closed, getting rejected off of there. Test, retest, third test. Alright, so again, same thing with this 5-minute candle. Breaks out above. I don't want to get in on this 5-minute candle because it's going to have already reached its ATR. I want to get in on the next 5-minute candle if it closes above. So I'm waiting for a close above, and then I will set an order here. Ideally not 12 points. Let's clear this. Stop below there at 29. Let's say pull back there to, let's make it an even 8 points. Alright, 5-minute closed above. Let's take a quick look at the internals before I set the trade. Still holding that trend line there. We are getting the pullback right now. That's a heck of a jump there on the tick charts. That is one heck of a rejection. Let's see. NQ is pushing up. Russell's pushing up. Dow's kind of holding everybody back right now. Dollars kind of got rejected off of that push there, but continues to go. VIX is dropping steadily below 20 now, and tested, broke right through. So the market seems to think this is going up. Let me adjust here. I think we're going to get into this trade. Alright, my order is submitted and I am in. Let's take a look at this 5-minute. Let's take a look at the internals real quick. Okay, what I do like is that I got in on the pullback of the tick, and the tick chart isn't up here, so can the tick chart come down and test these lows again? Absolutely, but at least it's not at the highs waiting for the pullback, right? We can get the new one that opens up and pushes up. I would like to see more strength here from the advanced decline, and I don't want to see the dollar go up, to tell you the truth. See if we get some help from the other markets here. The Dow is the one that's doesn't even want to come and test these highs from the open or the overnight. Everyone else is breaking out above. New highs on the NQ, new highs on the Russell. Let's see if we get a breakout there to new highs there on the ES. a minute 45 in this 5 minute. We would certainly love to see it close green. Now, understandable if it closes red. Can't just have 10 green candles in a row. Although I've seen it, but I'm not going to expect it while I'm in. Alright, let's see if we can handle this pullback. We haven't really gotten a push from the tick chart yet in our favor. Getting a push down here on the NQ as well. And it is what it is, guys. I accepted the risk when I took the trade. We're going to let it play out. I am risking that entire previous 5-minute candle there. Right, so I do have a decent amount of support. And let's see if we get a push. Curious to see what the daily candle is. Still a nothing candle there. See if we get a push to try and test the highs from yesterday. That's the trade. We got a pullback, broke to a new high, closed at a new high, didn't break to a new high, but it closed to a new high there. No follow through yet. None from the tick chart. Just grinding its way down. Now what there wasn't was there was no volume in this candle that closed above there. I mean there wasn't any volume spike. Didn't need to be way up here, but the next candle had even more volume, which pushed down. So that could have been a reason for me to not get into the trade yet, is that there was no volume. And then the fact that it didn't actually, it did break the high, but by one tick. Again, I accepted the risk when I took the trade. I'm perfectly fine with this trade. This is my setup. This is my type of trade. Could have said that I needed it to close above the actual high of the opening range first, but I'm not going to second guess that. That's just something I need to note and keep track of, and maybe make some adjustments to my trade plan in the future, but that was my plan. We're sticking to it. getting no love here on the internals. No love on the tick chart. No love on the advanced decline. It's basically gone flat here. YM is starting to try and push back down, it looks like. We've got 1 minute left in this 30. Quite a rejection here for the NQ after the breakout. Same for the Russell. .30 seconds, and I say it basically every day. I do not like the new 30-minute candle. The volatility at the open can certainly stop me out before taking off without me. Unfortunately, price isn't anywhere where I can manage this trade at all. It's either gonna open and stop me out, or it might open and take off. But though I originally liked my protection of the 5-minute candle getting into the trade, now on a 30-minute chart, that is not necessarily enough protection. It can certainly retest this entire wick on the 30-minute candle. And it can certainly break the low of the 15-minute candle before reversing and going up as well. So my trade is not exactly in a great position right now with the new 30-minute. VIX continues to drop. See if we get some pushes up here on not just the tick chart. I need to see the advanced decline push up. And I'd love to see the dollar come down and test something down here. Pedro, 13,420 volume still holds. NQ 13,420, 13,420. Yeah. Zone down here is still holding. NQ looks a little better as far as the volume goes. We had pretty good volume in this break above, in this candle, and even some, at least it was higher than the next few candles in the other one that broke above. So yes, 420 still holding. Not a bad place to get long from on the NQ to come and test maybe the 500, 13,500 again. 60, 80 points ish. I used to trade the NQ, but I would end up taking too many trades. It just moves so quickly. And it's nice when it moves quickly in your favor. But when it moves quickly against you, it stops you out. I would just end up taking too many trades in a day, revenge trading, and so started trading the ES. And it is quite boring, which I kind of like as far as trading goes. I think trading needs to be boring. If it's too exciting, your emotions take over, and you make irrational decisions, and so the ES moves nice and slowly. I usually have a big enough stop that I'm in the trade for a while, even if it goes against me, and so I don't overtrade. That's me personally. Franco comes and watches me trade the ES, and he falls asleep. Alright. Didn't get any strong pushes on the internals. Didn't break any new levels. Didn't break to new highs. Didn't test the highs. Didn't do jack. Didn't do jack. Let's see if we can get the Dow to hold this 21 to the upside and maybe get a push up. It's been essentially the weakest market, kind of holding everything back. See if we get a push from it. No follow through. No follow through. And we're starting to form a trend line here. That's a steep trend line though. It's not essentially a trend line yet. I'd likely see it come and bounce a few times more before breaking that steep line, although you could draw it there like that. The buyers are trying. The buyers are trying. And the more they try, the more I want to get. The more they try with no follow through, the more I want to be short. So if I get stopped out, I'm likely going to be looking to short at some point today. But you guys saw the volatility in that candle trying to push up. Rejection. All kinds of rejection. Now what there is up here is a ton of stops. There are all kinds of stops up here. So if we do break this high again, it's going to shoot up very quickly through all of those stops. Hopefully that's the push we need to really get us up to here, get us up to target. And hopefully we get that push before another spike down. But no love here from the internals. Just broke all these lows on the tick chart. Rolling over here on the advanced decline. This trade is going to convince me that I should have waited for it to close above this pivot high, not just above the closing highs. So I think I'll be adding that to my notes for today. I'm going to take a screenshot and start logging this trade in my journal. Pulled back there to VWAP. New 5-minute. These internals, oof, new lows on the tick chart. New lows on the tick chart. Dollar's pushing up to new highs. VIX reversed, so not looking good for this trade. Broke that trend line certainly. My only hope is that the trend line there holds. That new this becomes the trend line, that it holds. No sir. Alright, -1 on that trade. 1, 2, 3, 4 tests, even a 5th test there. I mean, a ton of tests. Buyers tried, buyers failed. I'm looking to get short. Not just yet. I need to see it more so break this trend here that I have drawn here on the 15-minute. Need to see it break down from these levels. Maybe test this zone again and get a pullback to get short. That's going to be likely my next trade. Still in a range from basically the first 30 minutes. That is the high from the first 30 minutes. And this is the low created by the news right at 10 o'clock. So 21 to in a 20-point range, still fairly tight. Took a trade that I basically that I do have to take. I essentially can't not take that trade, but I could convince myself that this close needed to be above these highs to take the trade. That'd be the only reason for me to not get in the trade. Other than that, gotta take it every time. Hopefully, well, see if this pivot holds. Alright guys, -1 on the day. I think with that, Fridays are tough chop. Yeah, and we did have the news event at 10, but it wasn't anything major. The major news happened earlier in the week. We've kind of gotten to new levels in the market this week. We did push to new levels on Wednesday. and broke out above here, so the market's deciding what it wants to do up here. With that rejection, you could think that it just wants to come back into this range, but hasn't even broken yesterday's low yet, so may want to push up, may just chop around again today. Obviously, I do expect it to be a ranging day, and so I'm going to take a little break, come back in a few minutes to the charts, reassess, clear my brain, shake off the last trade. I don't want it to affect my next trade. It's going to be terribly annoying if it freaking shoots up from here. Good Lord. And we'll catch you guys next week. I'll have a daily recap today on this trade, and if I take another trade, I'll have the daily recap on that. SPX 4232. Expected move on the week. Hold on. 4232 upper edge. Expected move for this week. Yeah. I mean, on the weekly it had a decent move to the top of the range here that I've had drawn out for a few weeks now. And so does it want to really push up and hang out up here next week, or is it going to come back down? That's going to be the determining factor over the next, again, overall, I'm still bearish on this market on the higher time frame, especially after this run up. I believe I heard yesterday we're up 14% off of these lows. And we haven't really had a pullback. I mean, it did absorb a ton of orders down here over the 5 or 6 weeks that it spent down here, which gave it a heck of an impulse up, but I don't necessarily expect it to get up to here, to this pivot, without some sort of pullback to get up to there. So I hate to be one of those guys that just sounds negative all the time, but just that's quite a leg out on the weekly without any type of pullback. So can it go up a little bit further before the pullback? I do believe so. Can it hang out here for a couple of weeks and absorb some orders there? Absolutely as well. And so that's why we show up every day, to analyze and try and make some money. So with that, guys, have a great weekend. Thank you guys for joining us. Hopefully, I believe Franco will be back next week. And we'll catch you guys on Monday, 9 a.m. pre-market analysis. 9:25 we go live. Deuces.